Once, twice, and here we go. Good morning, Tony Dattino. I am the founder of the USA Memory Championship and about to hop in the car when I'm finished with this and head over to UCF. I've been asked to join with Evelyn Walker, a colleague of mine, to teach 50 college students something called mind mapping. And as the professor and I have shared our conversations, this is a gift to these students that happen to be in an entertainment entrepreneur class, and teaching them how do you retain the lessons, how do you better store information that you've learned in the semester that you will hold there for long term, so that when you get back out into the world of entertainment and entrepreneuring, of media and shows and things of that sort, you'll have the teachings that the professor has given you over the 14 weeks of a semester. And I thought I would share with you exactly what we'll be doing this morning and let you see what the mind map is that we'll be using and how we can make a difference in the learning of these students. So let me start here by sharing with you, this is a picture of Henry. This is copyrighted by Latino Consulting. And let's see if you can do a memory test with me on this. So the first thing I want you to notice is Henry lives in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. This is going to be a memory test for you. So he lives in a condo in the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and Henry was married to Sheila. Sheila was not a happy camper, as you can notice on this side. They were divorced in 1995, so they've been divorced for quite some time. But at the time when they were divorced, Henry took his prize Jag. So that red car that you see there is his Jag. Henry was dating Amber, who was a 24-year-old dancer in New York City in an exotic dance club. And as you can see, as an entertainment attorney making $500,000 a year, he was able to meet people in the entertainment world. So this is a perfect map for this class today, because Henry got to do some work in the entertainment world. He had 4 hobbies. He loved to drink fine wines, loved to smoke Cuban cigars, raced the cigarette boat in Greenwood Lake, New York, and if I can get my finger off of that, loved to ski during the ski seasons in Aspen. They did have 2 children before they were divorced. They had a boy who was 11 and a girl who was 8, and he was 39 years old at the time they met him. So there's a mind map of information that eventually turns out to be more than 30 pieces of it that I will share with them and take it down off the screen. And when I'm finished with it, and take it off their screen, I will ask them to tell me as much as they can about Henry. I may ask for 1 or 2 people to get up in front of the room and present it back to them without the mind map. I may go around the room and talk to different people to see what something is that they remember. And what usually will happen is the people that go through this exercise are just amazed. So you at home, shut your computer off and see what you can recall about the map of Henry. And what people discover is that it's a mapping of your mind. Mind mapping maps your mind in a way that it helps facilitate through the integration of left and right cortical skills of the human mind. Each of them hook something that connects to their memory that then facilitates their ability to recall the information. And what I expect them to be able to do is recall the whole map and then kind of get a wow. And I always recall the first time that I created Henry in a workshop we were doing on mind map, and I saw the people that were in it just amaze themselves on what their ability to recall the information, more than 30 pieces of information given to them in a 2-minute segment, was just mind-boggling to them. which then brings you to, okay, well, let's teach people how to mind map their studies, their professional work, things that they go about. And I would then like to tell the story of where I got to go to Rochester, New York at one point in my early stages of teaching this. We met an executive at Kodak who also ran a Boy Scout troop. And my colleague and I, my co-author of the two books that I had to write, Richard Israel, and I went to Rochester, New York to teach Boy Scouts, Eagle Scouts, something called mind mapping. And the first thing we wanted to do was we wanted to do a memory test to see if the Boy Scouts could remember Henry and how they would then use that for their Boy Scout troop work and or their subsequent schoolwork. And a number of parents were very interested in coming along, and so the scout leader asked if my colleague and I would mind if parents were to come up to the workshop we were going to do at a church in the evening. And we said, absolutely. And to our surprise, they had 27 Boy Scouts that were there, and 44 parents came. It's like, what are you doing with my child? Like, what is this mind mapping thing? What, you know, you're going to brainwash them? Or, it was a fun evening. And so what we decided to do was a memory test. And we I took the parents into an adjoining room of the church, and my co-author Richard kept the Boy Scouts in the main auditorium. And we decided to see whether it be the parents or the Boy Scouts who would remember this better. And the Scouts, Richard told me, were perfect. They were jumping up and down. Each Scout wanted to remember it, and they were just superb. And I had the parents, and when Richard was finished sharing with the Scouts, he gave me the hand wave, which I could see down the hallway, and it was time for me to bring the parents back. And I had also shown Henry. And we brought them back together, and it was an interesting evolution of what happened during the evening, because when we got all 44 parents back in the room and we got the Scouts ready to go, Richard clearly said, can I get a Scout to tell us all about Henry? And the Scouts were just jumping up and down, and one young little boy, adorable blonde boy, just gets up and he just rattles off. Upper West Side and Sheila, and their two children, and hobbies, and he was an attorney, and I mean, he just went through this thing so quick, and the parents were just looking there aghast. I mean, they were like, what the, huh? And Richard said, hey, is there anybody else that would like to do this from the Scouts? And another Eagle Scout this time got up and changed the sequence, which is an interesting story in itself. And he got through it. And so he started off, and they had a girl at 8 and a boy at 11, and they were divorced, and he was an attorney, and he made a lot of money, and he had a girlfriend, and so he went through it. And the parents are just mind blown there. And Richard then said to the parents, okay, it's time that we had two of the Scouts recall Henry. Can we get one of the parents to get up? And there was not one parent that wanted to get up. Now, we have 44 parents. They came here to see what their Boy Scouts, their children were going to be doing, and not one parent was willing to get up. So he eventually encouraged one woman to give it a try, and she got up, and she just fumbled through this thing. I mean, she did not get even a quarter of what the Boy Scouts were able to do, which then brought a gentleman to get up, and he's like, okay, what's the gimmick here? What's going on? Is it a dad who was now skeptical of what tricks and magic were Richard and or I being a party to? And so he came up to the front of the room, and he asked the Scouts to hold up their arms and hands. He's looking around to see if there were cues. He's looking all over, and he finally asked a very important question, which was the breakthrough of the magic, if we wanted to even think of it that way. And I'll throw out to you for 30 seconds. Can you think of the question that the parent asked us that really kind of opened up a whole different dialogue. So here's what the scouts got to see. She's giving you 30 seconds. Here's what I showed the parents. So here were the scouts looking at a mind map. And I read this to the parents on a slide 3 times. Richard shared this with the scouts 1 time. The parents got to see this 3 times. And what's the lesson? The lesson is the mind maps were able to prove to the whole group of 27 scouts and 44 parents that if we understood the principles and the teachings of what a mind map is able to do in helping us to learn, helping us to store and take in information that maps to our mind, then we have accelerated our ability to learn and develop new skills throughout our whole life. And so we spent the rest of that evening teaching the scouts and the parents, how do you mind map things that are important to you, be it in your profession, be it maybe you want to plan a wedding, maybe you want to increase your professional ranking in a position you've got, you need to take a different professional test. For the kids, maybe you want to go on and do something you never thought possible, like maybe I want to be a doctor, or maybe I want to be a scientist, or maybe I want to be a pilot of an airplane, and I map out my lessons and learnings and help me with my retention of information that I needed to pass professional exams, and maybe it can change the course of my life. And in the 25 plus years that I've been teaching mind maps, it has never ever failed me. And so Evelyn and I are going to be off to teach 50 students today and give them a gift in their first year of college that if they would follow it throughout will make a huge difference in their learning, their ability to comprehend, store, recall information. And I'll let you know on Friday how that works out, but we're looking forward to it. It's an exciting morning that we have, and we're hoping to change the lives of at least, not always optimistic about 100%, but 80% of the students that we're going to be addressing this morning at UCF.